Ravens fans, whether you like it or not, and judging by social media, it seems like many of you would like this. We might not be far from a very big change coming to the coaching staff for your Baltimore Ravens. Okay? The understatement of the year, maybe the understatement of the century, this Ravens defense has been bad in 2025. How bad is it? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's been one of the worst in the National Football League, and in many ranks, it's been the worst in the National Football League. If you look at the yards per game, they've given up 415, dead last. Pass yards per game, 266, 31st, second to last. Rush yards per game, 30th. Points per game, 31st. Sacks, only 3, tied for 28th. And I get what you're saying, right? Joey, last year, this defense was really bad the first 10 weeks of the season. Do you remember that? Yes, of course I remember it. I watched every single one of those games live on YouTube. I've been covering this team longer than just last season, right? But the thing about last year was the secondary was awful. But it was still a top 5 run defense. And that's what made last season so frustrating. Because you looked at last year's team and said, man, if they could just shore up in the secondary, this defense would be phenomenal because they're stopping the run better than anybody else in the National Football League. But this year, if you look back to that list 5 stat I just showed you, they have the 3rd worst rushing yards per game allowed through the first 3 weeks of the season. A couple more weeks of this, I truly believe that Zach Orr could be on the hot seat. I really, really do believe that. Especially coming up against the Kansas City Chiefs, who, yeah, they've got Patrick Mahomes, they've got Andy Reid, but their offense has not looked good this year. You got the Texans after that. Their offense has not looked good this year. If both of those teams play you the same way that Detroit and Buffalo did, there could be major problems coming for Zach Orr. It just looks like, in my opinion, and I'm sure you guys share the same sentiment, that this team has lost their identity. This franchise has lost its identity. We talked about it a good bit this week already. I've said it a lot. They like to say, play like a Raven. We like to pride ourselves on being a tough and physical football team. But that's not who this team is. They've lost their identity from what they worked from 1996 and on to build. Sure, it didn't get there until probably 1999 when you added in Ray Lewis. And then everything else that came with that defense was Suggs, Reed, and all that stuff. But, like, guys, this team is not physical. It's not physical. And I'll show you a perfect example. Roquan Smith, who should be the most physical player on this football team, he has been, he's been so frustrating to watch, okay? Here's a run play from the game against the Detroit Lions on Monday. And I'm just going to show you one clip, one play. There is tons I could show you, but that would waste time, right? So you see him, if you go back to that last play gauge, if you go back one more picture, the play has started. He's scoping things out, right? Trying to figure out where Gibbs is going to go. And it looks normal. But then if you look at it from the end zone cam, look at that wide hole. Look at that big hole. He sees it's a run. Hit the hole. And not only does he not hit the hole, he doesn't hit anything. He lets the offensive line, that center and guard, work up to him and hit him. You can see him right there. Like, he's not initiating contact at all. He's just letting himself get run over, get pushed back. It's so frustrating. That is your middle linebacker. That needs to change, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? It needs to change. Like, nobody's physical on this team. Not one of them. Not your middle linebacker, not any of your defensive tackles, not your other linebacker, not any of your defensive ends. Kyle Hamilton, who's usually the most physical person on this team, he didn't look too physical against Detroit. An alarming stat to me is the lack of blitzing that this team is doing. Because I still believe in the secondary, even though they put up bad numbers. I believe the reason the secondary's put up bad numbers is because the defensive line can't get to the quarterback. And one of the reasons they're not doing that is because A, they're not good enough just sending 4, and B, Zach Orr is just refusing to send more than 4. A 12.1% blitz rate, 30th best, or also known as third least in the National Football League. The blitz rate last year, 20.5, a little bit of a step up. Still, bottom 7 unit when it comes to how often they blitz, in my opinion. Okay? That's not good enough. If you don't believe you can get there with 4, figure out a way to get there with 5. Because if you can't get there with 4, that quarterback's just going to pat the ball all day long. He's going to tear you apart like it's been done. The cool thing is, though, and this is kind of where we'll spend the rest of the show, I believe that Zach Orr's replacement might already be in Baltimore. Okay? I know. Sounds crazy, but it's true. So coming up, I'm going to talk about why Chuck Pagano should replace Zach Orr. I know it's been a long time since Chuck Pagano has been a coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. 14 years to be exact, but I think I'll convince you. I'm curious, though. Do you want the Ravens to fire Zach Orr? If so, do me one big favor. Hit that thumbs up button, like today's video. I'm sure there's not going to be much dissension over this. I've seen the people on social media. They're pretty fed up. So if you're one of them, hit that thumbs up button. Speaking of social media, remember when Adam Schefter dropped this bomb on us? In late January, just a couple days after the season ended, Ravens hired Chuck Pagano as their senior secondary coach. At the time, I thought it was a wonderful move. Get a guy who's been in the National Football League for a very, very long time, who's had a chance to be retired, refresh, and also see the game from a different perspective, and get a guy in here who's double the age of your defensive coordinator to kind of show him the ropes, okay? And if we want to remember Pagano's final season in Baltimore, it was in 2011. This team was third in the NFL in yards per game, under 300. Third in the NFL in points per game, under 17. First in passing touchdowns allowed with 11. They only allowed 11 passing touchdowns in 2011 and 48 sacks, which was the third most in the National Football League, okay? And I get it, right? I understand it. Chuck Pagano had Ray Lewis. He had Suggs. He had Reed. He had unbelievable talent. Hall of Famers. He had Hall of Famers. But in my opinion, it's not the talent level that's wrong with this defense. It's the physicality. It's the want-to. It's the grit. It's the toughness. And your physicality is a reflection of your head coach. And the thing about Pagano is he wouldn't be the long-term answer at the defensive coordinator spot. I'm not naive in thinking that. If Zach Orr gets fired, Chuck Pagano takes over, it's only for this season. But he gives Harbaugh and this team a nice safety net if they're feeling a couple weeks through the year, maybe a month from now, that Zach Orr just isn't cutting it. You might argue back, but Joey, Chuck Pagano, senior secondary assistant. The secondary sucks this year. Yeah, I already talked about it. The secondary sucks because quarterbacks have all day to throw the damn football. All day long. You never sacked Goff. You didn't sack Allen until the fourth quarter. They snap the ball, and they sit, and they sit, and they go through their progressions. Nobody? Okay, let me check it down. It feels like they've got time to go through 4 progressions every single time they're dropping back because you can't get an ounce of pressure on. Who do you think should be the defense coordinator? Should it be Orr or should it be Pagano? You let me know in the comment section down below. I never thought when January came and this team hired Pagano that we'd be doing this video this early in the season, but hey, it's not my fault. Zach Orr put us in this position. My hands are tied. Something that you need to get your hands on is this awesome, awesome deal, okay? 30% off. You can get this Lamar jersey, okay? Shirt jersey. If you go to chatsports.com/8shirt is actually how you're going to get it, okay? chatsports.com/8shirt. I put that link in the comments. I also put that link in the description of today's video. If you use code LATTE, you can get it for 30% off. chatsports.com/8shirt. It's this one right there, okay? Code LATTE gets you that great deal. I get it, right? They started slow last year. That's what a lot of you are going to tell me as well. Joey, remember when weeks 1 through 10, this team was one of the worst defenses in football? Yeah, I remember it. I was there. Okay, promise you that. Last 4 games of the season, they really turned this thing around. They truly did. But guys, it's different than last year. It just feels really different than last year. Last year, it felt like they just didn't have the personnel. This year, outside of injuries, it feels like you've got the guys. They're just, for some reason, not in the right places, and they're getting out physical. Okay? If you lose to Kansas City's offense, I think you at least have to have a conversation. If that offense does to you what Detroit and Buffalo did, you need to have that conversation. Eric DeCosta, John Harbaugh, I don't care if they call up Ray Lewis and Ed Reed as well. You got to talk about it. You have to talk about it. Something I want you to keep an eye on, okay? 5 names, 5 people. Al Harris, defensive back coach, pass game coordinator for the Bears. Deshea Townsend, defensive back coach for the Lions. Bobby King, inside linebacker coach for the Eagles. DeMarcus Covington, defensive line coach for the Packers. Terrell Williams, defensive line coach for the Lions. All 5 of those guys, I feel like in the next couple of years are going to get coordinator positions. I know we're not quite there yet. Just keep your eyes on those names. And if something happens and one of these guys gets hired in the next year, I can come back, look at this, and tell you I told you so. That's going to do it for today's show. Something I also tell you to do. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/RavensTV. Daily videos on your Baltimore Ravens.